Okay, the book was really written to limit the arguments that we all often engage in. One, Africa's future is dependent on the past, that for some reason we are underdeveloped because our past condemned us to be underdeveloped. So each year you go forward, you are still stuck in what happened yesterday. And we can't change what happened yesterday. So in looking for an industry that did not have the colonial or colonial package, if we talk about mining, one can argue that God made minerals, but the people who exploited the minerals, extracted them, processed them for value, were foreigners in the definition of what Africa is. So they acquired a natural advantage by virtue of the past. So we have that disadvantage of the past. So if I were to look at a 20-year-old South African, still one would argue in the same classroom after failing matric that I failed because of apartheid. But that argument will not wash because you started grade 1 together and you were processed in the same pot, and you may exit with frustrations or with joy. But those 20 years are shared, and you can't say the president was Foster or the president was Botha, but you can all agree that the 4 presidents that South Africa has had are all black. So if there was a link between the person in State House and progress and prosperity, then a 20-year-old must not have an argument that is premised on the past, unless there's a process of osmosis or diffusion or umbilical cord where disadvantage is transmitted at birth. But nobody has presented that biological argument. So I was looking for an industry that we all can debate, if it's Economic Freedom Fund, if it's AHAN, if it's the ANC, particularly this year, people will say, I will create jobs. I will create 2 million jobs if I was in government. Then if you understand the proper role of government, you would say that person has not thought through what he's saying. Because it can never be the role of government to create jobs. Jobs are created by us, by individuals, not by government. So whenever you get government that exists, that will be responsible on minerals, on the roads, empower people, then even President Mandela, some people would argue that his job was to be a prisoner, and after imprisonment, then he becomes an empowering agent. And nobody has actually constructed a world that would give President Mandela more sunshine than another person, more hours in a day than another person. We are all human. And he was not a saint, as he said. He was just another human being. But for you to expect that Mandela would free somebody, would empower somebody in Soweto, in Kwamash, it's a dream. So I was looking for something that would not present that argument. Because one may argue that the role of the president is to make our life better. But I've never discovered anybody who is capable of performing that role. Even Jesus was not capable of doing that job. So if that is not humanly possible, then we need to have an informed discussion. That's the only, when we talk about deepening the African debate, it's really about us, who is an African. In 1873, we were all roaming around like animals. Sometimes without clothes, sometimes without toothpaste, without deodorant, without internet, but we're still human. And in 1873, Africa had no borders. Africa was one. So if Africa was one, then really if we look back and turn back the clock, we may find that the reason why Africa was one was maybe because the concept of what it means to be African was more elastic, more fluid than how we define it today. So when you say somebody is South African, what really do you mean? To find someone from a white guy says, but Mawere, you are not a South African. I said, what are you? He said, I'm South African. I said, okay, what makes you more South African than I am? She said, no, because I'm born here. I said, okay, a lion that is born here, does it have a better claim than a lion that is born in Mozambique? Because if the two meet and the Mozambican one is stronger, the other one will be finished. And there's no way of telling this bird is what is South African, this bird is Tanzanian. Because they've flown across borders without a passport. It is only human beings who create governments, who create these platforms to exclude, not to include. So in looking for something that unites, I think somebody then came up with 1873, that if we were to look back, in 1873, no African would claim that they were colonized. Then in that, we have to find what went wrong. Because if we had our own roads and rail, and then there would not be any point for someone to come from Europe to build another road on another road. But if we didn't have all those like administration, courts, and all these constitution, let's accept that at that time we were a bit confused. Now that we've reclaimed the center ground, then let us not look at the period where we had not created the roadblocks. Because the only way to create a roadblock is to put a gate. If there's a gate, for you to cross the gate, you have to what? To talk to somebody. But if there's no gate, I have not trespassed. And one cannot claim that you stole my minerals because you didn't create them. So if I didn't create the minerals, I didn't create the minerals. So the inventor of the 1873 has just arrived. He's the man you should give credit to. We were looking at the name of 1873. Bless him, came up with 1873. We wanted to call it corporate heritage, but something foreign. But he came up with 1873. And he said, no, if there's 1873, let's all embrace it and what? And move on. The more we use that term, the more it becomes real. If we don't use it. So in looking at the cellular industry, my hope was that our discussions, I was talking to someone in chartered accounting, said they want to set up an audit firm. How do you do it? It's, I've never seen Ernst & Young. I've never seen Pricewaterhouse. I've never seen Deloitte and Touche. But I do business with them. I've seen someone from Nashua trying to confuse me with photocopies. But he is just a distributor. You don't make any. It's Japanese. Yeah. So you just distribute. You are just a market maker. So even if we were to take out all whites in Africa, still blacks will be poor. So it doesn't cure our problem of prosperity if whites are not here. But you find that where there are less whites, there's poverty in Africa. Because we've had 50 years in Nigeria to build something in Ghana since 1957. So this book was trying to deal with those issues that when we discussed, if I were to go to somebody and deal with ideological questions, we will not succeed. And practical questions will not succeed. Because everybody will tell me, but Mawere, you can't argue that Mandela was not in prison. It would be naive for me to say that. You can't argue, but why he went to prison? I don't know. Because it never occurred to him, even when I met him, he never went to prison to free you. No. He went to prison for himself because he couldn't practice as a lawyer at the time. He couldn't enjoy the benefits. Everywhere he went, he was reminded that he's a percentage of a human being. He was not a full human being. So he had to respond to the challenges of the day. Not that he was going to empower you. No. If you don't work, Mandela is irrelevant whether you're under apartheid, you are under a black first in Africa. So it won't cure your problem. So the cellular industry is what we have. MTN today has got more than 200 million subscribers. I think as you were saying, it's not 4,000 subscribers in Zaire. It was 40,000 subscribers for a population of 40 million. Then Vodacom today is Vodacom. And at the time, the com came from what? Where did it come from? It came from Vodacom. There was Telcom, was it? The com came from Telcom. And then the Voda came from what? Vodafone. So the two then became, with the Rupees, with Venfield. Then they became Vodafone. Then MTN was part of what? The Jonic enterprise. Is that correct? And Jonic was then unbundled. Then that became the what? The bank of the MTN. That's why you said Ramaphosa was chairman. Worldwide investment, Mutumwa is still chairman. And that was part of the project of what? It's a post-colonial, it's a post-apartheid project. So it started from zero. So it's also 20 years old. It doesn't have the hang-ups. But today it's flying all over the African continent.